You're welcome back to the sewing tutorial of our jacket. So here I have all my papers cut out on my main fabric, as you can see. So this is my center front, and I cut out two pieces for it, okay. And I also added my stay and my lining piece. I also cut out. Can you see it? Okay. So I use the main fabric for the lining, okay, of this center front. Then this is my side front. I went on to cut two pieces, adding 0.5 inches here and 1.5 inches on the side for easy allowance. And I cut out two pieces and added my stay, and here is my lining piece. I cut two pieces as well, okay. So can you see, these are the two fronts, center front and side front. So this one here is side back, as you can see, B, and I went out to add 0.5 inches here and 1.5 inches on the side, added my stay, and I also cut out my lining pieces for it, okay. Then this is the center back CB, added 0.5 inches on both sides, as you can see, for joining allowance. And I also added stay to it, and I also cut out two pieces for the main fabric and my lining piece as well. So the next thing I did was I cut out my collar as well, okay, and I added 0.5 inches allowance to it, okay. So I later trimmed off this collar. The whole size of everything, the collar was about 4.5 inches, okay. Remember when I was cutting, I made about 3 inches, but now I reduced this, okay. This is my sleeve. So this is how short my fabric can go for my sleeve. So I cut it out and added my lining piece as well. So now it's going to be time for us to start joining, okay. So what I was trying to say is that the wideness of your collar should be 4 inches, 4.5 inches. It should not be up to 6 inches, okay. So I'm going to set my paper aside, and this is the center front, okay. So I'm going to join it with the side front, placing it right side facing right side, and I'm going to join with 0.5 inches, which is the allowance I added for joining, okay. So I'm just going to pin it down like this, and I'll go ahead and join, okay. So after pinning it down, I'm going to pick the second part of the center front and the side front, that is the front, and I'm going to pin it down. So this is the second part, and I'm going to pin it down, okay. Remember I told us that I cut the lining piece of the center back with my main fabric, okay. So this is because of our lapel, okay, so that when we turn it, the main fabric will still be showing. So if you want yours to be plain fabric to be showing when you turn it on the lapel, you do that as well. So I'm going to pin lining piece to lining piece of both the side back and the center back, just as I did for the main fabric. And I'm going to pin right side facing right side, okay. So you can add stay to your lining piece if you have enough stay. So mine was not enough, so that's why I didn't add on my lining piece, okay. So I went on to pin it down, and I'm going to get it ready for joining, okay. So this is my back, the back part, and I'm going to remove my papers, and the next thing I'm going to do is to place it right side facing right side, one of the side and one of the center, just as I did for the front. That is what I'll be doing, okay. Remember the back part is in two pieces because of the zipper bulge elimination. The bulge elimination will remove at the waist part of the center back, so that it can give us perfect fitting there, and that is why it has to be pieces this way, okay. So if you have not watched the cutting tutorial, please go and watch it so that you can understand perfectly what we're doing here. So I'll go over to my machine and join. So I'm going to join the right side of the lining piece with the other side, okay, the lining piece to lining piece, main fabric to main fabric, and I am going to close the center part of the back, okay, and join everything. So I was done doing that. So that is basically what I did, and I open iron, okay. So what I did was that after joining, I open iron. You can see the center back, you can see all the front here, can you see? And I also I also joined the main the sleeve of the main fabric, okay. So this is my lining piece now, can you see? I joined everything. After joining all the front and all the back, I joined the shoulder and attached the sleeve, okay. So I did all the lining piece of the sleeve, the front, the back. I joined them separately. Then I did that to my main fabric separately. This is because I want to use inseam finishing, okay. You know how suits are being finished, that is what I'm going to do. So I want to measure where I'll be adding my shoulder pad. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to measure 3 inches down and 3 inches long and 3 inches wide. Okay, so that is how I want my shoulder pad to be. Okay, so this is the shoulder pad. I already cut out on pattern, but I'm going to be explaining to you what I did here. Okay, so I brought a foam that I'm using for my shoulder pad, and I folded it this way as if I want to cut a circle, and I cut a round circle of 3 inches. Okay, so what I measured was 3 inches, and that is what I have here. And I also did the same thing here. Okay, I measured 3 inches and cut out things that look like a circle. Okay, so this is actually a half circle. It's just like you cut circle, you divide it into two. Okay, so these straight parts, I'm going to show you how we're going to be attaching it. We're attaching it on the lining piece, not on the main fabric. So I'm just using this main fabric to demonstrate. So I'm going to fold it this way and notch on the center part like this. And the straight part is going to be here. This is the curved part. This is where we're going to attach it. Okay, so I'm going to trim off all the excess so that it doesn't look thick or bulky around there. So I am not cutting out on the shape. Okay, I'm not cutting out on the shape, I'm not altering the shape. So what I'm doing is not affecting the shape in any way, just as we normally do when we're making our hip padding. I just a kind of lowered that side. Okay, that's what I did. So I'm going to do that on the second part as well, and I'll add stitch to it. So I was not adding my stitch to it, both of them, both side, right and wrong side and right side. Okay, so this is my lining piece, and this is exactly where we're going to be attaching it. So I'm just going to place it this way. Okay, mark the center of my shoulder. Okay, so this is the midpoint of my shoulder, and remember I already notched here, so I went on to mark there, and I'm going to pin it down this way. Okay, just exactly the way I'm placing it, that is how I'm going to join it. So I'll pin it down, and I'll take it to my machine, and I'll show you how I'm going to join it. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to mark the midpoint and ensure that the midpoint of my shoulder pad aligns with the midpoint of my shoulder. That is this lining piece, the shoulder part of the lining piece, and I'm going to pin it down. Okay, so I'll go ahead and sew on my machine this curved line here. I'm going to stitch it down with my machine. Okay, I'll stitch it down the straight part and stitch down the curved part as well. Okay, so here I am on my machine sewing it. You can see I'm stitching down the straight part, and I'll go ahead and stitch down the curved part as well. Okay, okay, so I did that on both sides. Can you see what we have? Can you see what we have here? Okay, so this is what you do as well. You stitch it down on your main fabric, on your lining piece, sorry, not on your main fabric. Okay, so can you see what I have here? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring my collar. Okay, so this is my collar, and I'm going to set aside the main fabric, the main fabric of my collar. Okay, that is the one I gummed collar gum to. Okay, so this is the lining piece, and this is the part, this curve part is where we're going to be adding to the neckline. So you can see the center point of the neckline is already notched. I am going to align this part as well that is already notched. Okay, notched part of the center of both fabric facing notched part. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to mark where my collar will be is going to stop. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my tape, and I'm going to measure about 2.5 inches. Okay, so I measured a mark on my 2.5 inches, and that is where my collar is expected to stop. Okay, so I proceeded to get another chalk to mark it. I hope you can see what I'm marking, and I am going to do that on this side as well. I am just going to mark 2.5 inches, and that is where my collar will be stopping on my lapel. Okay, so I'll go ahead and sew round and stop here, and I'll also sew round and stop on the other side. So I was done joining, as you can see. Okay, I was done joining it. Can you see it stopped exactly where I marked? Can you see it here? And I did the same thing on the second part. Can you see it? It stopped exactly here where I made my marking. Can you see it? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to join the side. Okay, so that is what I already did as well. I joined the side. So I joined the side with exactly the 1.5 inches allowance I added for ease. Okay, so that is what I did, and I did that on my main fabric as well and on my lining piece. So this is the main fabric, and I've done that as well to it. So join it along with the sleeve. So I also join my collar to my main fabric, as you can see. Okay, can you see it? So this is my main fabric, and I join my collar. Okay, the same way I did on my lining piece. So this one here is my lining piece. Can you see it? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring my main fabric, and I'm going to place it with the lining piece right side facing right side. Okay, so can you see it's right side facing right side, my lining piece and my main fabric. And I'm going to push my main fabric inside my lining piece this way, and I'm going to locate the point where both of them have joining, and I'm going to align them and pin them down. Okay, so just pay attention. Then this is my collar. Okay, so these are the two collars, the lining piece collar and the main fabric collar, and I align it and pin it down as well. Okay, then my sleeve as well, I'm going to push the main fabric to the lining piece of the side, and I'll pin it down just as I did for the other part. So while you do this, ensure that your seam lines are open, your allowance, the seam allowance here are opened up. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure that I align all the lines. Okay, all the seam line that I open iron, I'm going to align it exactly on the main fabric as the same with the lining piece. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I align, and I'm going to sew round. Okay, so I went on to sew. Okay, I went on to sew round. Can you see, starting from the collar to the lapel to the hem, round to the sides. So that is what I went on to do. Can you see it? I'm just showing you round all the place, the way I sew it round. I join everything round. Okay, so I am going to place a notch around it. I'm going to generously notch around it. Okay, so that it will be able to relax when I turn it right side out. Okay, so I'm going to notch around. So this part where the collar meets the lapel, it is very important that you place a notch there very well. Notch it very well, but be careful so that you don't cut the seam line. That is, you don't cut on the part where you've sewn. Okay, so I go around and notch properly, notch generously, and after doing that, it will be time for me to go ahead and turn it inside out. So if you notice, I didn't join here. Okay, I didn't join it, so please don't join the sleeve yet. Okay, don't join the sleeve yet. It's still pinned the way I pin it. Okay, so I joined other part except the sleeve. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to look for one side of the seam on the lining piece, and I'm going to rip it open. Okay, I'm going to rip it open so that I'll be able to access the to be able to turn it inside out from there. Okay, so you can see me ripping one side of the seam line open, just a little space where my hand can pass through. Okay, and I'm going to turn it inside out from there. So I noticed that it was not properly notched, so I had to notch again, generously notch, so that it will be very relaxed when you turn it inside out. So at this point, I'm going to unpin this sleeve. Okay, I'm going to remove my pins and let it stay separately so that I'll be able to turn it inside out. Okay, remember we are yet to sew the sleeve of the main fabric with that of lining piece. Okay. Okay, so I was not turning inside out, and I just pushed my scissors there around the collar and the lapel to be able to push everything out. Okay, and please, as you do this, be careful so that it doesn't tear the fabric, as in the scissors doesn't force its way out on the fabric. Okay, so I'm trying to ensure that that part comes out relaxing. So there was a need for me to still notch around there, although I was scared because I didn't want that part to, okay, cut open on the seam line. Okay, so I went on to notch and turn it outside, as you can see, and I also ironed it. You can see how flat it is. Okay, so the next thing I did was on the right side, I pushed my hand inside. Okay, and I am going to show you how I'm going to be joining the sleeve. So you are going to push your side here as if you are going to turn inside out, just the place where we created to turn inside out, and you are going to pin and turn it out. Okay, remove the sleeve. I mean, you are going to remove the sleeve out, and it's going to be separate this way. So remember, you are going to push your hand inside from the opening we created to turn the fabric inside out, and when you do that, you align the sleeve and join. So that is what I did. You can see the way it's looking as I joined. Okay, so I'm not going to push my hand just on the right side of the fabric, not the same opening. I'm just going to kind of remove it from the right side of the fabric. Okay, so you can see what I have here. So see the difference now. Can you see the difference? Can you see it? Can you see? Okay, so that is how you join it. You're not going to join it with other parts of the bodies initially. Can you see it? Can you see how it neatly is fit? So ensure that your lining piece is shorter than your main fabric. Okay, so that when you turn it this way, your lining piece is not showing on the tip of your sleeve. So this is the place I open initially to remove the fabric. So I'm going to use my hemming gum to close that part. So I was done doing that, and I went on to give it a very good press. Can you see how everything is neat from the inside? There's no rough seam line showing. Okay, so you can see how I neatly finish it with inseam finishing. Okay, so can you see it? Can you see how neat everything is looking? Okay, so that is what I did, and I'm going to carefully iron it, give it a very good press, and after that it will be time for me to mark where I'm going to be adding my button. Okay, so I'm just going to fix only one button to it. If you like, you can fix more than one button. So I'm going to measure from my shoulder to 1 inch below my under bust. So you can use 1 inch below your under bust or 2 inches below your under bust. Okay, so the choice is actually yours. You just determine where you want the button to be. So I'm going to be sewing only one button. Then after that, I'll create my buttonhole and I will show you what we have. Okay, so I was done making it, and this is the final look of my jacket. Can you see it? So this is the beautiful outcome of our blazer jacket. Okay, so you can see it. Okay, so I didn't want this jacket to be too fitted. Okay, so that's why I made it a bit loose. That is just how I want it, and it still come out very cute, as you can see. So thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so, so that when I drop tutorials like this, you'll be among the first to be notified. Okay, and if you love this video, please hit on the like button. You can also drop a comment for me. Thank you.